Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Oh my goodness, today we are going to be doing drugstore beauty favorites of 2021. I started thinking about this several months ago, and so I actually purchased a bin that I could just kind of dedicate products that were really standing out to me, the products that I feel like I was gravitating the most from these mass brands, and I'm not 100% positive if I'm actually going to talk about every single product in this bin. I'm really going to focus on the things that I was using the most consistently and the products that really withstood, you know, seasons and different tests and, you know, just were consistently good products throughout the entire year. So I'm going to try to speak about these in as, you know, order of application as closely as I can possibly do it. So let's just get into it. I'm gonna get started off with one product that I actually set aside because I repurchased this and I've really been enjoying it. So it's the L'Oreal Sublime Bronze Self-Tanning Facial Drops. So obviously, you know, I'm a big Tan Luxe gal. I know that those are more on the splurgy side, and while I do think that those are worth the money, this is definitely a much more affordable option. The color of the, you know, tan that it produces is very natural, and you can really go anywhere from just like a light little bit of sun-kissed color, or you can really bronze up your base and get some noticeable color to the skin. All you do is just apply the custom amount of drops that you want in your facial moisturizer. So I would probably recommend to do this at night, just so that you can cleanse the skin again in the morning. But it's nice, color produced is great. It's a great affordable option. Like I said, it was a repurchase of mine, so I definitely recommend those. And I always feel just like a little bit better before I go in with makeup application when I have a little bit of color to my skin, especially during the winter time when I get really dull. Products like this are standbys for me. In terms of priming products, I actually wanted to keep this super sweet and simple. There were two that I really liked. So first is obviously going to be, no surprise, the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer. This is definitely not for everyone because a lot of people don't really like the tacky stickiness that the primer gives to the skin before you go in with makeup application, but I personally find that to be absolutely phenomenal. It quite actually makes the primer act more like an anchor for your makeup, so it really does grab onto those base products and it just keeps them in place for longer periods of time. I also find this one to be quite amazing at helping conceal visible dry patches on the skin because it's got that really thick, gooey texture. It just kind of like soaks up into those dry patches and helps camouflage them so that when you go in with your base products on top of it, it's not able to cling to those dry patches because it almost like hydrates those areas so that makeup will just glide on nice and smooth. And it really does such a great job at increasing the longevity of the makeup throughout the day. So all seasons, loved the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer. I've been a big fan of that one for several years now. Next one I want to talk about is another repurchase. This one's almost gone. So I have a backup here ready to go when I use this one up completely. It's the Revlon Photo Ready Rose Glow Face Gloss. So when I purchased this initially, several months ago, probably at the beginning of the year, I really thought that this was going to be almost like balmy and sticky, kind of along the same lines of a lip gloss like product because I thought that it was going to be a true face gloss. When you actually squeeze it out of the product tube, it comes out kind of like a lotion, so that really threw me off the first time I used it. And then I really was shocked that when you start blending it into the skin, it almost turns even more fluid and it glides over the skin like a water gel. So it's quite unique in that aspect. It has a very soft, rosy pearl to the product, so that little bit of the pink tone really gives you that, you know, kind of like punchy, lively undertone to the skin. And depending on the amount of coverage that you're wearing, it still has the ability to peek out from behind base coverage products and still give you that little bit of glow from within, which I really love. But I think my favorite thing about this product is the soft illumination that it leaves on the skin and then how it is quickly absorbed. So there's not really like a lingering feeling of primer on the skin. You can also use this to cut down any type of foundation or concealer that you feel is a little bit too thick and more difficult to work with. This makes an absolutely amazing kind of like mixing medium for certain base products, and I was just surprisingly really into this product, and when I started running low, I was like, you know, I actually really enjoy that. I find myself using it very consistently throughout the month, so much so that it, you know, required a repurchase on my end because I really do like this primer. So definitely not for somebody who's, you know, concerned with longevity, because I don't think that this is going to give you that much more wear time, if I'm being completely honest. It's just a really nice prep product for the skin before makeup, whereas this one will actually make your makeup last longer. I want to talk about Illuminators because I would personally choose Illuminator as one of my must-have makeup products time and time again. I just think that Illuminator can completely transform the complexion. It completely negates dullness and really just has the ability to give you that true lit from within glow and glisten, and just makes the skin bounce back light. And they're also really great for mixing in with makeup products that you want to kind of change the finish of and make them look a little bit more luminous. So I'm gonna get started off with the one that I have been talking about for literally years. I think it's so funny because I've turned so many people onto this product, the Revlon Skin Lights. And so many of you just associate me with this product at this point because it's so good. I do still stand by saying that this is my favorite illuminator of all time. Of course, I love more, you know, luxury illuminators as well, but this one specifically, the formula of the product, the beautiful strobe of this product, as well as the price point, you just really can't beat it. You don't really need to go with a bougie illuminator because this one gives you all those amazing qualities. And like I said, you can wear it alone, mix it in with your foundation, on top of your foundation. You can mix it in with sunscreen, body lotion to give yourself a little bit of a body glow. This is really one of those products that truly does it all. And if I'm having a really good skin day, I love wearing Illuminator on its own and then just spot concealing. But the Revlon Skin Lights, it just has a special place in my heart. I've been a fan of that for maybe like 10 years or more at this point. Absolutely love it. So the other one that I got turned on to, you know, around the summertime, I want to say, and really was impressed with is the Maybelline 4-in-1 Perfector. Now this one's a little bit different because it's quite similar to some other products like Huda Glowish or Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. It's in that same family of product because this is a very heavily strobed liquid illuminator that also can still provide the skin with noticeable coverage. So this actually comes in different skin tone shades, if you will, whereas typically illuminators come in, you know, rose gold, champagne, bronze. This one's a little bit more geared towards being worn as a very, you know, tinted skin product with a lot of glow and glisten. So I personally use this interchangeably as a base product, but I prefer it as an illuminator. So really nice underneath makeup or mixed in, but definitely more of a wearable illuminator if you're someone who something like this is just going to be a little bit too metallic for you, and you want something that you can more wear on its own as a base product with a lot of illuminator. This is what that one's really great for. And again, Maybelline, really nice, but just with like, you know, like I love a bougie liquid illuminator, but then when I see my drugstore favorites, I'm like, they really are just as good and they give you all the same qualities and really nice effects like the more expensive ones. So the last one I want to talk about is the Versed Mood Lighting Glow Drops. Absolutely obsessed. This has such a sheer but buildable amount of illuminator and shimmer to this product, and I also absolutely love the way it sets down on the skin. It has a little bit more of kind of like this gel latex finish on the skin, so it almost gives the skin a little bit more of like a taut, kind of like plump and firm effect. So it really does act like a primer in that sense, where it makes makeup go on noticeably much more smooth. And this one shade in Golden specifically is just so beautiful. I love using this as a liquid highlight, and I love the tone, I love the shade, I love the product. I love these little tiny dropper bottles. I just think they fit in a makeup bag really nicely, and then they're just like not overwhelming. And yeah, those are definitely the Illuminators that stood out to me the most this year. Base products, I'm gonna start off with some lighter coverage products first. So like some tinted moisturizers and things like that. I really tried to be very picky with base products because for me, this is one of those things that's really easy to go overboard with. So I want to start off with the NYX Bear With Me Luminous Tinted Skin Serum. I have talked about this multiple times on my channel, of course. I need to stop saying that because I'm going to say that about every single product. But this one specifically gives you skin that looks like you just had a hydrofacial. I mean, it really gives you this soft, even-toned skin, a really beautiful soft pearl finish, but it's not dewy, it's not sticky. I mean, it is dewy, but it's not like an oily dew. It's a very true luminous glow. It's buildable, and it really is perfect for those days where you just want to look like you don't have too much makeup on and you just really want your skin to look good. You can't beat this one. It was so beautiful. Now this one actually has a little bit more coverage, and I really enjoyed this during the summertime specifically. It's the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. Phenomenal. One of the best skin tints I have in my entire collection, regardless of it being you know, drugstore price point. I think this outshines so many more luxury skin tints. This one is just so beautiful, and it dries down. It's really unique in the sense that it doesn't feel like a skincare serum. It has more of like a powder finish while still having luminosity to it, so it still reflects back light, and it just looks so gorgeous. This one's a lot more dewy, if you will, whereas this one sets down more like a luminous satin finish. It's very unique, very beautiful. I love how lightweight it feels, and I love the buildable coverage. So I can even wear this on days where my skin's not doing as well, and I still get all the coverage I want from it over redness, hyperpigmentation, and it just feels good on your skin. That's why I love these skin tint serums. They feel good. They don't feel like foundation or anything. Now the last, you know, lighter coverage product was the L'Oreal Skin Paradise. This reminds me so much of the old Dr. Jart. It was like a tinted moisturizer, but it was like an SPF 2. And when you would blend the Dr. Jart product into your skin, it like instantly turned into water. It was such a cool product, and I love that about this because that's what it reminds me of to a T, just kind of like those Japanese tinted moisturizers that just turn into water as you blend them on your skin. So it feels super lightweight. I think you'd be surprised with the coverage on this one. I think it's anywhere from light to medium, and it's buildable. I love the finish. It has great longevity, and you can even boost up the longevity by just setting with powder, but this is a really beautiful one. And Light 03 is my shade, which I thought was gonna be too light, but it's actually quite a tan color, and I love L'Oreal skin products, like their foundations and concealers specifically, because I think L'Oreal does undertones really well. So I always manage to get very lucky with L'Oreal, and they do those like kind of like yellow blended olive undertone skin tones so perfectly. So I guess we should just move into foundation, and I'll get started off with the L'Oreal Age Perfect Serum Foundation. Been a big fan of this for years. Much more coverage than the tinted moisturizer for obvious reasons, but still that really nice lightweight serum-like consistency that sets down on the skin and doesn't feel like makeup. I think this is a really luxuriously formulated foundation. It feels very elegant. It feels like something you would get from Estee Lauder or Shiseido. It just has that really fresh look on the skin, but still feels lightweight. And you know, I'm trying not to like talk too much about them and overwhelm you, so I'm just trying to tell you specific reasons why I like them. Don't blab too much. So next up, I want to talk about the e.l.f. Camo Cc Cream. I was thinking that this was going to be more like a tinted moisturizer the first time I tried it, but this is a full coverage foundation. It's very creamy. It has almost like a, if you could think of a cream foundation that comes in like a little compact, it has a formula quite similar to that. It feels really thick, but in that sense, it's also really moisturizing. And if I'm having a skin day that's not so great, I know that this is gonna give me natural looking, long wearing coverage. So I really enjoyed this throughout all times of the year, specifically during the summertime when I had that dermatitis on my chin and I really needed something that would completely cover all of the redness. I really liked this, and it feels really nice under the eyes specifically as well, because it just has this really gorgeous, like, creamy, moisturizing formula. So it was really wonderful. These last two foundation products I actually want to talk about side by side because they perform almost identical to me, and it really just comes down to if you can find a better shade in the other formula. So the Flower Light Illusion foundation and the Physicians Formula Butter Believe It foundation. I tend to lean a little bit more in liking this one better than the Physicians Formula one. I also think that the Flower Shade Tawny is one of those foundations that perfectly matches my skin tone. It just has the right undertone and it always seamlessly matches my skin. And the foundation from Physicians Formula, it's a good match, but I do have to do, you know, a little bit of neck bronzing and bronze this because it's not quite as dark or quite as yellow as I would like. But both of these have creamy, almost like give you that milky looking skin finish, and I really like how you can build up the coverage of both of these. They feel very moisturizing. They are extremely dry skin friendly. You can increase the longevity obviously by powdering, but I do find them to be very long wearing on their own, and they're just consistent good foundations. That's all I have to say. I mean, there's not necessarily anything crazy about the formulas of these guys, but they're good, and I keep them in my everyday makeup collection because I like the way they make my skin look. It's one of my favorite finishes from foundations. It's just that kind of like plump, bouncy, milky finish that you get on the skin, and with both of these, I get that effect. So I really enjoy these as just kind of like an everyday type of foundation where I just want a little bit of freshness and just really want that nice bouncy looking skin. Concealers. This was so easy for me. I had two that really blew me away. The first one is the one that was consistent year round, one of my all-time favorites, the Neutrogena Radiant Cream Concealer. So comparable to NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is definitely the drugstore counterpart to the NARS concealer. It's absolutely got all of those beautiful qualities that I love so much from the NARS concealer, where it does set down with a dewy radiant finish, but it's not over the top. It just really gives you that nice bouncy, youthful looking under eye. I also really love using it as just a little strip of liquid highlight on the tip of my nose when I'm doing a nose contour. And it's just really nice and comfortable to wear under the eyes. It doesn't crepe up, it doesn't get chalky or dry throughout the day. You can use it for concealing redness or anything that, you know, is discolored, so darkness as well. And probably not everybody's favorite way to use it, but I do think that it helps conceal acne as well. If it's a particularly, you know, raised bump, I would not put it on that, but anything that's past the midway point of healing, it's not going to draw too much attention to it. And I hate to give you this visual, but you know, when your pimples are a little bit dry and crusty and you need almost like a moisturizing concealer to hide some of that dry crustiness, that is what this is also really great for doing. But just absolutely gorgeous under the eyes, one of my all-time favorites. And then the other one was another kind of like dupe for one of my luxury favorites. It's the Revolution Eyebrites. This one is very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Concealer. I love the sticky, almost like drier formula to this concealer. Although it is much more fluid and lightweight than the Charlotte Tilbury one, I just really like how this one stays in place. It's a really nice full coverage under eye concealer for the eyes, but it's got a little bit of pearl to it, so it does illuminate under there as well. It just keeps things looking nice, youthful, dewy, bouncy, and bright, and it's a beautiful under eye concealer as well. For myself personally, even though I've struggled with acne on and off throughout this year, I don't really focus on concealing my acne. I oftentimes feel like that concealer tends to make it look worse, so I focus on layering foundation coverage on specific acne spots, and I really focus on just concealer being used as a brightening and lifting tool for my complexion. Which brings me to my next product. So this is the Milani Supercharged Eye Brightener in the shade Peach. This is one of those products where it can be used underneath concealer or worn on its own. I think the way that this completely just counteracts dullness and darkness under the eyes is exceptional. You'd be so surprised at what the tiniest little smidge of this product can do for darkness under the eyes. I'll just tap a little bit on, I mean, especially on the outer corner of my eye. It's instantaneous. It just really manages to brighten up the under eye so much more than concealer can. So in conjunction with this product and your concealer, you can really lighten up the load and the amount of product that goes under your eyes by using just a light veil of this on your under eyes first. It's also really great for any type of dark hyperpigmentation that you have on the face as well. That's a new way I recently started using it. I have a lot of dark post-acne hyperpigmentation, and this is really great for concealing that and brightening it up so that it doesn't even show up from behind foundation. Moving into setting powders, I have just one that really withstood the test of time throughout this year. It's the Covergirl Clean Fresh powder. I like the translucent version as well as the shade medium because this can be worn as a foundation product on its own, or it can be used to set makeup. I oftentimes really liked using this with the skin tone to it to set tinted moisturizer or skin tints because it would just amp up the coverage just a touch. I like how this isn't completely matte. It still has a somewhat noticeable sheen to it, so it looks very natural and skin-like. It doesn't, you know, suck all the life out of your skin. It's super finely milled. It is not chalky. It feels soft. It looks silky on the skin, and just a really nice, versatile little powder. But if I really did want to set my makeup and increase the longevity without having to use powder, this is like one of the best setting sprays I've ever used. Definitely top two. It's the Revolution Super Fix Makeup Setting Spray. This is genuinely like a long hold hairspray, but for your makeup. It really will keep everything completely locked and loaded through sweat, through water. It just keeps everything in place. You know how sometimes even when your eyes water because you get hit in the eye with a cold gust of wind and then your eye leaves, your tear leaves a little streak in your makeup from the tear coming down on the makeup? You don't have that problem with this one. And it just tends to make even the sheerest, you know, makeup products that don't have a lot of wear time, this tends to just make them really last throughout the day or night, and I'm just always so impressed with this. It's also not overly matte of a finish. It sets down to a very normal soft powder finish, so for someone with dry skin, I still really love it, and it's definitely one of my most used setting sprays of all time. I would say this rivals the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray that I rave about so much. Now the other one was the Maybelline Glass Skin Spray. I actually do enjoy this as a prep step as well, but when I'm using this as my setting step, I really like using this with matte foundations, days where I powdered the skin, or days where I felt like my skin was just looking a little bit too dry. This setting spray has glycerin in it, and that's really the magic ingredient that's going to give your skin that little bit of plump juiciness, that visible amount of dew, and really just gives you that nice moisturized looking base, and just kind of revives the skin. After you've done all your makeup, if you feel like all of a sudden it's just not looking the same, it's looking a little bit flat, you can take a couple spritzes of this and it's really just going to liven up the face, wake all those products back up, and just get you looking really nice and fresh again. In terms of blushes, I think we all know I'm not much of a blush gal, but when I find a blush that I really like, whether that's a formula or just shades, I suddenly become a blush lover. And for me this year, it was definitely e.l.f.'s Putty blushes. There are so many good shades of this blush line, and I just absolutely love the e.l.f. Putty formula. I love the e.l.f. Putty Primer, the Putty Bronzer. The blushes are such a standout product in my opinion, and you can see, like, look at all these amazing tones. You get like muted apricot tones, you get like a bright bubblegum pink, which instantly adds so much soft, feminine, just like cute pinkness to the cheek. I'm absolutely loving these bubblegum pink shades right now. And then obviously I always like these really nice muted tones as well. So we have here, this bright pink shade that I love so much is in the shade Bora Bora. This muted apricot is in the shade Bahamas. I love this one. It's kind of like a nutty cantaloupe. And then this deep burgundy is in the shade Maldives. And then this soft kind of woody rose is in the shade Tahiti. I do also think one of the most standout formulation characteristics of those e.l.f. Putty blushes is how customizable the intensity of the blush is. So if you are somebody who's not that much into blush, you can still get a really nice, soft, subtle result from these blushes. Or if you like more of a punchy, noticeable, bright cheek, you can do that as well. And I also really like using these on the lips. I think they make really nice lip colors as well. Two others I just really quickly want to glaze over because these have been favorites for many years, and they are definitely my two standby blush products when I don't know what else I want to use. First is going to be the Healthy Hue Blush from Almay in the nude shade. Been such a big fan of this one for so many years. Love the luminous finish of this powder. Love the, you know, fleshy warmth you get from it, and it truly does go with anything. Any eye look, any lip color, barely there, no makeup, or a full glam face. This really just gives you that little bit of color that you need to your cheeks without distracting from what other products you have going on. And then the other one is from Milani. This is in the shade Berry & More. It's more of a luminous berry toned blush. If I'm being completely honest with you, I've lost track of how many times I've repurchased this blush. Everyone goes crazy for Luminoso, but I think Berry & More is definitely really flattering for brunettes or, you know, medium skin tones. It just plays really nicely with the skin and just gives you, again, that really soft, fleshy glow that goes with any makeup look. Just looked in the mirror. Oh my gosh. I'm disgusting. Moving into bronzer, because I was just speaking about those e.l.f. Putty blushes, I wanted to also touch on the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. I have the one in the shade Golden Days. I absolutely love the formula of this bronzer. I think it's really beautiful and it looks very skin-like because the cream bronzers just tend to melt with your skin's texture. And so for a product like a bronzer, which you're applying to the large planes of the face and you're using quite a bit of the product, that's where a cream really almost fools the eye into not being able to tell that it's a bronzer. It really does just look like sun-kissed skin. I have one big issue with this bronzer though specifically. I love the color, I love the formula, I love this product. It's really tiny, and so for me with for a blush, because I use a more, you know, precise brush to apply the blush, it doesn't matter because it fits easily into this pot. I do wish that the e.l.f. cream bronzer came in something like more of this size where I could use my bigger bronzing brush, because what I have started to do is scrape it out and then kind of like melt it on the back of my hand and then pick it up on a brush and buff it into the skin that way, which is fine. I can work around it. It just does get a little messy, and then you've got like brown cream all over things. So it can sometimes get a little bit inconvenient at times. Definitely not my favorite to travel with for that reason, because I do pretty much only use big fluffy brushes to apply bronzer, and I just don't feel like having to constantly dig into the cream pot when I'm traveling or like not at home. It's really inconvenient and messy, but a beautiful product nonetheless. And if you can get around the tiny tub, you'll love it just as much as I do. I love it. It's one of my favorites. Now the other one I want to mention is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I'm not really quite sure if the packaging has completely changed, but I have two different two completely different packages here. So this one is in the shade Sculpting Bronze, which is much deeper and more of my summer tone. I really like the deep bronze that this gives me when I'm more tanned. And then this one's obviously a lot lighter, but still a really gorgeous color that will give me a little bit more of a sun-kissed look. These bronzers are buttery, they are smooth, they are silky, they smell like a tropical vacation. They have such a nice, I love the smell of these. They smell like sunscreen and pina coladas, and that's like what you want to smell when you're putting on a bronzer. But formulation-wise, Physicians Formula completely knocks it out of the park with the butter line, in my opinion. I just like how, well, with the foundation as well, I just really like how the Physicians Formula butter line is a very smooth, creamy, silky, like luscious formula of products, and the bronzers are no exception. They are powders, but they feel like butter. I know you already know this about me, but if I'm not filming a video, if I'm just going out for everyday things, 9 times out of 10, I am in a cream, like a pot cream eyeshadow, a liquid eyeshadow, or a shadow stick. Like, I pretty much exclusively wear cream shadows in day-to-day life. I just think they look a little bit more natural. They're a little bit more intuitive to use, especially for somebody who's not particularly good at doing eyeshadow. So I want to talk about this because I bet you this will be in my drugstore favorites every single year. It is the Revlon Colorstay Shadow in 710. This is such a beautiful, neutral, bronze toned cream shadow that if you have a dark brown eye, this is like that color that, in contrast with your dark eyes, it just makes those brown eyes pop, sparkle, stand out. It definitely makes a brown eye look noticeably more striking, and this is actually a repurchase for me. I completely used up a 710 earlier in the year, closer to summertime, around 4th of July, and I was excited to go through an entire one, and I repurchased it because I wear this to death. I adore this cream shadow so much. It is just absolutely beautiful. And then I have also really been just raving about these nonstop. The Loreal Brilliant Eyes Liquid Shadows. I have 3 shades that I really love. So we have Bronze Light, Precious Lava, and then Diamond Drop. These are phenomenal in the sense that you can wear them as just a light glow and glisten of color on the eyes, very a la Glossier Lid Star. But they beat out Glossier Lid Star because these you can actually build up to full intensity and get a really impactful, strong, opaque eye look, and it's just a lot easier to use than a powder eyeshadow, in my opinion, because I like more of like a glowy eyelid for day to day. Now the other ones that I tried that I was super excited about are from PYT, and these are really beautiful as well. No surprise, they are more gold and champagne shades, and this one's golden, this one's champagne. You can see though, these are truly the tones that I wear on a daily basis. So just being completely realistic, these are the colors that I like to wear day to day. I love a good bronze, I love a good champagne, and I love these liquid shadows. The formulations between the PYT ones and the L'Oreal Brilliant Eyes are not much different. It just really comes down to color, but they're all really beautiful, long-wearing liquid shadows. The eye products the highlighting products I really liked, I really loved was from Revolution. This is the Highlighter Reloaded in Dare to Divulge. I think I spoke about this in a favorites video once and talked about how when I initially touched this product, I thought I was gonna hate it because it feels really dry. So don't let the way the powder feels scare you, because it's really a nice customizable amount of sheen, and it does not look dry on the skin at all. It actually looks like a wet highlighter. Like, doesn't that seem like something you'd get from a liquid highlighter? But that's a powder. How crazy is that? I absolutely love this one, and this shade is really pretty. It's almost like a cool toned blue undertoned pink, and I really think it's actually quite flattering, and I really have been enjoying it, especially with my darker hair. I really like the way that this one specifically looks with my skin tone right now. I have just one eyeliner I'm gonna mention, the LA Girl Lasting Brown Ultimate Eyeliner Pencil. This is really nice. I haven't been wearing any liquid eyeliner pretty much at all. I just really like pencils. You can smudge this. It stays put in the tight line, the waterline, top lash line. The shade is a really nice brown as well, and it's honestly just as good as like the Charlotte Tilbury eyeliner pencils that I like so much. I just love those long wear, like creamy kohl eye pencils that stay put. We're gonna talk about mascaras, but we're gonna keep it super simple and sweet because by far my two most repurchased mascaras month in and month out were the L'Oreal Telescopic Volume and the Maybelline Lash Stiletto. So Lash Stiletto, I fell back in love with and was repurchasing like crazy because I wore this almost every single day. If I wasn't wearing this and it was like the Dior Show mascara or the Ilia one, I'm getting like so sidetracked now, but this was by far my favorite one from the drugstore. I absolutely love the brush. I just like how it's nice and slim. I love the bristles. They're those natural bristles, so they really grab each lash and really give you that nice kind of like wispy volume look to the lashes. And I like it. It's affordable. It's great. I'm buying it constantly. It gives you tons of length, like a noticeable amount of crazy length, and it's just absolutely one of my all-time favorite mascaras. And then the L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara, really nice for clean volume, clean definition, and length. This one has really no wispiness at all. So if you're somebody who likes kind of more of the eyelash extension look versus like a wispy falsy effect on the eye, I think you'd probably prefer this one. But again, I've spoken about this one for so many years in a row. I hate to bore you to death, but I am true to these mascaras because they are so good. They are just absolutely incredible in my opinion. Quickly wanted to touch on my favorite brow pencil. I didn't have a favorite brow gel from the drugstore. I would just recommend Hairspray or the Got To Be hair gel before I recommended a brow gel this year. But the Brow Goes pencil from PYT, this pencil is really nice. It almost has like a clay-like formula to the product. It's very waxy and clay-like. I don't really know how else to describe it to you. But because of that, you can almost use it to shape and mold your brows a little bit extra before you go in with your gel. I absolutely love the shape of the product itself. And I think it's a really nice brow pencil. I just have really been enjoying the formula. And I also love that it has a spoolie on the other side. I think that's really nice. So I've been using that one probably the most consistently. Lip liner wise, we definitely were loving Toffee to Be from L'Oreal. It was an absolutely phenomenal kind of like dusty mauvey rose tone. Really great for every day and just when you want like a little bit of color but not too much color. So it was a nice fleshy option. And then of course NYX Nude Truffle, my ride or die, probably my favorite lip pencil color of all time. I'm always chasing the perfect nude. I always go back to this one. It is just my favorite shade and tone to overline my lips with. I really like overlining my lips and just making them look noticeably bigger and more full with lip liner. And I feel like I can always exaggerate the size of my lips with this pencil shade specifically, and it never looks like too much. I'm always really happy with the way I can essentially make my lips significantly larger with this lip pencil without it looking over the top. So I absolutely love Nude Truffle. It's my favorite lip liner. The Maybelline Lifter Glosses were by far the standout glosses of the year. This one is almost gone, so I guess I'm really loving that shade specifically. This one is Topaz, a really beautiful kind of like Fenty Gloss Bomb dupe. It honestly is the one that looks the closest to Fenty Glow. So I love Topaz. And then this one is ironically the other dupe for the Fenty Fussy shade. This is Moon. So I love the I love the lifter glosses from Maybelline. Definitely the most comparable to the Fenty glosses and obviously a lot more affordable. Beautiful, beautiful glosses, ultra juicy, ultra shiny, sparkly. You get that wet glass shine on your lips, which everybody wants. And then we also had the Undone Beauty Peony Pearls. I liked this as more of a lip mask, lip balm. When I pull the doe foot out, I'm actually like, whoa, I used a lot of this. It doesn't really provide the lips with much more than like a slight sheen, but the Undone Beauty one, for whatever reason, is so much more moisturizing. I would say this is like more similar to the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask, if anything. It's not really like a true gloss, but I absolutely loved this for every day, and it just looks nice even paired with a little bit of lip liner. And this shade too, it's got a little bit of milkiness to it, so it does kind of give you like a soft nude appearance to your lips. And by far, my most worn lipstick shades were these two. So we have Warm Me Up from Maybelline, a really beautiful, fleshy, mid-tone creamy pink. Then we have the GOAT of nude lipsticks in my eyes right now, like definitely my favorites, because the specific shade of this one paired with brown hair and brown eyes, I've said it a million times, but it really does make your eyes pop out. And pop out is not the right word. It really does make your eyes stand out and just look, like I said, like a lot more smoldering and striking. And when you can find that right lip color that plays off of your eye color, it's just like the perfect pairing. And Naked Dare really does all of that for me. So this is kind of like a caramel, creamy beige nude, not too deep, not too light, and just one of my absolute favorite nude lipsticks of all time, and definitely my most used drugstore lipstick out of 2021. Also seasonless in my opinion. I wore it all throughout the different seasons and I really enjoyed this one. All right, so those were my top favorite and most used drugstore products of 2021. Did I forget anything? Was there anything that I was super obsessed with and I completely forgot? If so, I will do a edited section in the comments and list those and write little quick tidbits about anything that I might have forgotten, and then I'll see it when I'm editing the footage and be like, oh my gosh. But if you saw me talking about something a lot and I forgot it, I would love to know your thoughts. I'm really thinking I didn't forget anything this time around, so I just thought of one. LA Girl Ginger Snap Lip Liner. The LA Girl Shockwave one. Alright, so that's gonna go in the comment section in the edited part, because that was a really phenomenal lip liner as well. So I really hope you enjoyed this. I am excited to continue filming the rest of my end of the year videos. We're gonna do prestige makeup favorites as well, and then we're also going to do hair, and we might do skincare this year as well. I'm not really 100% positive on the skincare one, but any questions or anything regarding these products, you can always hit me up in the comments down below. I'll do my best to get back to you and help you out, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Bye everyone.